John Miglash for the WDMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Today I'd like to call your attention to an article that I'm posting on LinkedIn, and I'll put the link on YouTube, that talks about one-to-one marketing, which is a great term, and it's been used for company names, etc. It got popular in the early 80s when Farm Journal teamed up with R.R. Donnelley to produce customized versions with Selectronic bindery, because they realized that a hog farmer and a dairy farmer and a wheat farmer could be completely different as farming got more specialized. And the trade presses were aglow with articles about how one of these days, any minute, right around the corner, along with flying cars that I remember from when I was in grade school, will be custom magazines delivered to your door so that you will have every content just tailored exactly to what you want. Now, I'm a little skeptical because it didn't happen in the 80s, it didn't happen in the 90s, but then the internet came along and the press was revived, because now with this live feed technology, we'll be able to customize the delivery of tailored information so that you can read about what just got pulled out of the Everglades, the 400-foot anaconda, and other things that we know you're going to be interested in are custom tailored to your. Those aren't custom tailored? Clickbaiting, they call it. Anyway, okay, so it hasn't quite happened yet. And in fact, I was on ESPN the other day thinking, why am I reading about NBA basketball? I hate NBA basketball. Why doesn't ESPN ask me what sports I hate? I have a whole array of sports I love. I told them those. There's a whole lot that I didn't mention, and there's some I hate that they didn't even ask me about. So with big data, we have this capability of predicting what people will want, even though they don't know about it, because we know everything about them and we can predict what they'll do. And it reminds me, I was hired by one of the big fishing clubs, and they said, we would make a lot more money if you could model the books that we send, because we send these books out. I said, wait a minute, I joined your club. I don't remember getting a book. They said, oh yes, everyone gets a book. What state do you live in? I said, Wisconsin. They said, okay, you get the walleye book. I said, oh, that's the reason. I hate walleye fishing. You drag the lure as slow as possible across the bottom, and you feel like it's stuck, and that's a fish, and then you hoist it to the surface like a soggy branch or log. And they said, oh, well, yeah, you don't, how about if you make a model that tells us what fish people fish for by zip code? And I started thinking, my next door neighbor likes to fly to Costa Rica to fish in the Pacific side. My other neighbor likes to walleye fish. He drives up to Dryden, Canada, or Lake Erie, hundreds and hundreds of miles. And I personally, my very favorite is snook fishing in Florida or trout fishing in Pennsylvania. And, Cancun, sailfish, that's fun too. Anyway, so I can't even boil it down to one for myself, and much less my zip code. My zip code is all over the place. Plus we have tons of lakes, and we can bass fish and carp fish and bluegill fish. So I said to him, well, I just don't think that's going to work. And they said, well, we know a lot about our subscribers. I said, I know. Yeah, you're club members. I'll tell you what, why don't you, instead of having me model, why don't you ask them what fish they are interested in fishing for? Well, their eyes got real big, and they thought, we could do that. So I probably talked myself out of $50,000 in consulting fees. But anyway, I try to put the client first. My point is that there's a lot of big data talk around here about one-to-one marketing that's very, very impractical. One-to-one marketing is like door-to-door sales, right? Watch Paper Moon, the way they price Bibles on the fly, and you'll get a very good concept of one-to-one marketing. But without that interaction, without looking through the door and seeing the piano and the chandelier, you may not raise the price. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's a little hard. But one thing I can tell you is, just as door-to-door sales is a lot of work, so is one-to-one marketing, and it's not always worth it. we tried this sort of segmentation idea with one of the big musical instrument catalogs, and we had a drummer version, and we had a DJ version, and we had a guitar version, and you know, we could find that there were differences. We could pretty much tell who was which. But when we'd send out the drum catalog, they would buy guitars, and they would buy guitar catalog, they would buy drums, and it got all mixed up. People are hard to predict. And so I think we need to be a little cautious about what we can predict with our big data. And we might want to think about asking our customers what they're interested in, whether they raise hogs or wheat. That's one strategy. Another strategy is that you set up tests, split tests. You look for what resonates with your customers. Amazon did ask me one time what kind of books I was interested in. I thought, well, what have I bought from Amazon? And it turned out I bought Christian books and I'd bought hunting books. Well, they didn't have a Christian category. They had spiritual, and they didn't have hunting. They had outdoors. That's as close as we could get. So all of a sudden I'm getting these titles sent to me by Amazon about Buddhist vegan spirituality and stuff. 180 degrees opposite of what I had bought. But, you know, they thought they could hone their database down by all this sort of thing. So I want you to just have a little bit of healthy skepticism when the consultant comes in and says, because we know all about your customers, we can predict what they'll do. We know what they're interested in. We know for sure. You know, get a little humble and you know, maybe have genuine offers. Save a little money. Your customer doesn't have a relationship with you. They think of you as a source of stuff. Tell them what you sell. Ship it in time. Give them good value. I'm John Miklosh for the WDMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing.